Today's episode is brought to you by Bridge Credit Solutions, the #1 stop for money-back guaranteed credit repair. Go to bridgecreditsolutions.com/Theo. Today's guest is the subject of a new documentary, which really is just kind of a scavenger hunt into this man and his journey with wrestling and everything, addiction, life, everything. Life. Today's guest is Mr. David Arquette.
I'll sit and tell you my stories. Shine on me, and I will find a song. I will sing it just for you.
Yeah, this guy should have shown him now. You watching
A little bit, not too much.
He came in recently and he just sent those over as a gift. It was pretty nice of him.
Hell yeah.
We're pretty happy to have him.
Spot, dude. This is sick.
Look what somebody made on a 3D printer.
Yes.
On a 3D printer, David.
That's so dope.
Pretty nice, huh?
That's badass, dude.
You have quite a collection of. Yeah, you can get into there.
Yeah.
And we shut that door. Do you mind, Nick?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Actually, it was your fault. But do you have quite a collection of things that people have made for you? I saw in the documentary.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of collection. I've been collecting since I started making money at 17.
But just isn't it funny when somebody makes something for, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I almost
That's
feel
special.
like you can't show the appreciation that things really deserve sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's cool when somebody, I love art in general, and when somebody puts their artistic ability to like do something with you involved, it's always dope. It's like, I don't know, it's amazing, especially when it's fans and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. You had a marionette somebody made, like a
Yeah.
You have the marionette. Just briefly in the documentary, you're able to see different little. They don't focus on it, but they had just little thing. You see a little doodad or a piece of art here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you really get led into my world, so you see a lot of sort of my house and some of my stuff I collect. I like collect giant things. I have a giant chair in it, a giant like tennis racket.
Oh yeah.
Weird stuff like that.
Do you? Sometimes I just started drinking Diet Coke.
Yeah. I drink diet stuff too.
I feel like an old person when I drink it. Do you?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's better than all that sugar though. There's these really great ones called the United States of Soda that just came out. And I'm only saying it because I just fell in love with it. It's just 30 grams of sugar, like not sure grams of sugar, but 30 calories total.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
That's
just a
nothing.
little teeny, but it tastes good. It's better than a LaCroix or whatever. I like LaCroix, but
And you could burn 30 calories. You could bend over and pick something up and burn 30. That's 15 calories right there.
yeah, I often ran into you at the gym before.
Yeah.
And now I got my mini Theo Vaughn working now.
Oh, you're coming in, and you do have a little bit of flair growing, huh?
Yeah. Flying Brian Pillman Jr. Or Bulletproof Brian Pillman was really my inspiration. Diamond Dallas Page always had a great mullet.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot of good mullets. I'm trying to think of some they had back, and they even had haircuts that were. Who was some early mullet work that they had in wrestling? Who was some early guys they had?
Diamond Dallas Page was definitely, and Flying Brian Pillman.
The Rockers, Marty Jannetty, and old school Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
They had some wild haircuts. I'm trying to think if Hacksaw Jim Duggan, his was just kind of.
He's such a funny guy.
Yeah.
His wife Debbie is so nice.
Oh, you know her?
Yeah, they were at Legends of Wrestling, the last match in the documentary. Yeah, they're really great people. You meet these wrestlers, and a lot of the time, like Ric Flair is incredible too, but his wife Wendy's like the sort of boss behind all these guys. What's like my wife Christina's the boss behind me, and she's responsible for producing this whole film and dealing with all the crap that came along with it.
Yeah. So there he is right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My God, man. He looked like he would use that board on like a standardized test, honestly.
It's so funny. He walks around with the board still.
Really?
Yeah, people get it signed and everything.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, his whole thing was amazing.
Yeah, man, that was a wonderful time. That was a time when Big Boss Man, that's a time when I grew up when you had real, I don't know, I guess that's when I was a kid too, so that's when I saw it. You know, it was like headlights looking right at me of just excitement and staying up late at night at 10:30 to see Saturday night. Sometimes on Saturday night, they would have a championship bout.
Yeah. It was all this. It was something they set up. It was like these really weird matches, a Saturday night main event.
Yes.
And then it would just be like these quick. I don't think like any real belts were ever exchanged. It wasn't a typical kind of fight. It was more like a spectator thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild, man. I remember just so excited, and sometimes I'd pass out because of the excitement. I remember just waking up in the morning and didn't know what had happened, and my brother was gone. And
yeah, no internet back then. You couldn't catch up.
No, you had to find a friend. Your internet was the first friend you saw at the bus stop or whatever. And you'd be like, what happened, Larry? You'd be like, I got grounded. And you're like, this fucking internet sucks. You're like, this dude is dial-up, man. I need a real friend who has facts.
Yeah. That's what's also cool about wrestling. It's like I have a couple friends, Brent Joseph and Curtis Reynolds, who have just been my friends for years, but they're friends that love wrestling too. So we all like, it's almost like those kids again growing up. You can call them and talk to them. That's what I love about RJ City too, my tag team partner. Mm-hmm. We can talk wrestling, and he's wrestled half of these guys, so he could tell you stories about Hacksaw Jim Duggan or, you know, Piper or whatever.
Good tales, yeah. You know, the closest thing I've seen to wrestling in a while in real life is Nick, do you have that bring up that park thing in Portland the other day, this antique? I don't know if you saw this or not. Mm-hmm. This is
RJ. Are you familiar with RJ City at all?
I'm not. I saw him.
It's hilarious. He's really funny on Instagram.
Is he?
I mean, Twitter. Yeah, he's a real Twitter. He's a real millennial.
I'll have to check him out. This is protesters in a park, but this to me seemed like, I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
To me, I know like a lot of these people, like, you know, a lot of this is political stuff, but a lot of it to me has it starts to get a very wrestling type vibe. Do you see any of that? When you see some of these park battles these days, it seems like a lot of costuming.
You know what? The best thing I've seen on the internet, it just came up this morning on Reddit. It was otter gangs fighting each other in Singapore. Yeah, these gangs of otters are getting together and they're fighting each other in Singapore.
Oh, water animals, you mean otters?
Yeah, the otters. That reminded me of wrestling.
Oh, let's see that.
Look at this. This is so fun. Look at these otters.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they're like these otters that are just wild otters, but there's gangs of them, and they don't like the other gang.
Damn, really?
And they're having a rumble here. And these otters just they're going at it. Look at the small crew. They're smaller than the big crew, and they're going for it.
This is very BLM Royal Rumble style.
I know.
Oh my God! Look at those guys that came in off the top rope. You saw those guys.
I know. They're really into it.
And do they know who these otters are? Are they pets, or that people brought, or these are just natural?
They like. I think they might have bred the otters for this lake, but then they broke up into two different groups, and then they don't like each other.
Man, it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet a little. Yeah. But like Gangnam style.
Yeah.
And that's in Asia?
Singapore, yep.
Yeah,
wow.
Like West Side Story.
Oh, they will do that, dude. They'll fight anything. I wonder if Michael Vick's behind this. I feel like that's insane, right? That's crazy, dude. How crazy do you think if Michael Vick would have fought a cute animal against each other? I wonder if it would have been different.
Oh man,
like gerbil or like I guess probably not because they had. It was. I think they got upset because of like a lot of the deaths of the animals. But anyway,
yeah.
So
my friend's a cop who's in the documentary, Jerry, in Connecticut. He just sent me a video too of these two turkeys fighting for a girl. That's something funny about animals fighting over a girl. It was just so funny.
And I guess we do it. Yeah, I guess animals get real territorial.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Did you ever get in a fight for a girl whenever you were younger, you think?
Yeah, for sure. I once got upset. I dated Alyssa Milano for a little while, and I once got upset. She showed up at this club we all go to, Roxbury, and she showed up with another dude, and we were just broken up, and I was like, crushed.
Did you stay in the club?
No, I came outside. I kicked her car, unfortunately. I apologized to her since. She's cool. I was a real piece of work, but I just kicked the side of her car. It wasn't
gotta do that.
anything bad, but we didn't even really fight. It was so pathetic.
Were you pretty heartbroken or not, you think?
Oh, yeah. She was like one of my
First loves?
I mean, yeah. She's a wonderful girl.
Dude, you had a real nice smile, huh?
Yeah,
That must be nice.
Happy.
But were you were pretty handsome. I mean, you're still a handsome guy.
Oh, thank you.
But, I
Me
mean, this
too,
is a
buddy.
time in our lives when people really were.
I was just young in Hollywood for the first time. Never really had pictures taken of me. I was a mess though. I'd once confessed my love. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing all this, but I once confessed her love, and I had taken some pill, and then we had some real sweet conversation, and I'd forgotten all about it.
Oh, damn.
And she was so hurt. I don't blame her. I was a real horrible boyfriend. There was terrible things that happened. Oh, we once went on this really beautiful trip. Oh, I feel so. I mean, it's sort
At least
of
you're honest
silly
about being a
stuff.
bad boyfriend. I was a really bad boyfriend.
Oh man, we went on this trip and we were playing this mixtape and it was all these beautiful love songs, and then she popped it out and she saw some girls writing on it. And she was like, "Where'd you get this tape?" And I was like, "Oh, it was from my old girlfriend." She's like, "How dare you?" So I didn't get it at the time. I totally get it now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long road to figure out how to be a good man. That's been something for me.
Oh, yeah. I feel that, man. Dude, that's what this whole podcast is based on.
There you go.
Oh, dude, struggling men, bro.
Well, you're a young guy. You got
No.
a serious lady or?
No, I've never had a serious lady in my life.
No,
man.
no kidding?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
wow.
I mean, I have.
Yeah,
I've just
yeah.
never been in a relationship where I didn't lie or cheat. You know, that's kind of really, I think, been my MO. You know, kind of. I've always dude, I remember having a party. Some girl invited me to Colorado one time. I go. She takes me to a party. I'm at the party. Somehow I end up getting her to play a board game that I knew took a long time. And then I snuck off with some other girl and professed my love to some girl in this closet. And
Yeah.
I don't know, everybody's feelings got hurt.
Yeah, I hear you. My first marriage, I was really faithful and everything. And, it's one way or another. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that happened. I got my heart broken and I don't know. It's important to be faithful and, true. It's hard though. It is hard, especially when you have a broken heart and you got animosity and when you lose faith and love.
Yeah. Sometimes I think I lost faith in love before I even knew what love was,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out everything, marriage and family and all that stuff.
Well, you got a beautiful group over there. You got that little fella that high-fived you in the documentary.
Yeah, Charlie and Gus, they're 6
Dude, I
and
love
3.
that
I have an
guy.
incredible wife, Christina, who's been amazing and really taught me a lot about loving myself. And, that's really what it all comes down to. I'd been on this whole quest to find love and all this stuff. And as cliche as it is that people say you have to love yourself before you can truly be loved or experience love in that way. I did learn that through this whole thing, that it really is true. Because sometimes you have all these things, at least I have all these feelings that I'm like, I don't know, does she love me or does, just certain things happened during the whole thing of this movie, which were pretty intense. Just
Yeah, there's a
to
cute
me,
batch.
her being really upset with me. Do you just want to die? Is that what you want to do? And I had to sort of come to terms with that. Like, I don't want to die, but I wasn't happy either. So I had to figure out how to love myself, as crazy as that sounds.
Well, what were some things you feel like? Because, like, I mean, I go to, I'm in recovery, so I go to like stuff like that.
That's good. Yeah, that stuff helps.
So that stuff helps.
Incredible.
It's good to have like a group that kind of helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard for me to not be like, my biggest thing is just with my mom. I go through moments where it's just like, there's no point in like being upset anymore. It's almost like my brain, like sometimes I feel like she was mean to me when I was really little before I even knew I was alive or anything,
Right.
But totally. I can't go back and fight those wars. I don't even know if it really happened.
Right.
Sometimes I think I'm just extremely overly sensitive,
Yeah, for sure.
And then you grow up in a world where it's like, you got to be tougher. You got to be able to, put a rear naked choke on somebody or something, and then it gets scary. And then now I'm a little older. It's like, okay, at least I can try to figure out who I am a little bit and not be scared at least to do that.
Yeah.
For a while, I was scared to even kind of figure out what I was feeling or anything,
Yeah, completely.
It gets interesting. So I watched the documentary last night. I didn't watch the last 20 minutes because I didn't want to ask you about anything that would give it away. So it's a documentary. It's a mockumentary. There were parts where I didn't kind of know, like it seems like a little bit of, I don't know. You tell me.
It's a documentary.
Okay.
I didn't they kind of set it up so I'd start from the bottom and go up. But like, even there's a death match in it. That wasn't planned. Mm-hmm. They weren't even supposed to be filming that night. It's something I set up. I'm the one who also went on all the independent circuit. The film crew didn't really follow me on all that.
I loved that.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a real education.
Yeah, when you get to places, like there's a moment in the documentary, you get to the places, and here's a question right here that came in from a young fella for you.
Oh, nice. This is all real time stuff?
No.
Oh,
None of this is real time.
Cool.
So this is all will be edited later, but these were picked up this week.
Since you're David Arquette, why in the goddamn fuck would you wrestle Nick Gage in a death match? What's the point? You could wrestle so many other indie stars, but why would you choose someone that is willing to stab you to death with a light tube? Get back at me.
Good question. Good question. I should have asked myself that before I did it. What happened was I was supposed to wrestle Joey Janela, who's an incredible wrestler, the spring before that, but I couldn't because I got injured or I was doing a movie or something. So then they were doing another spring break the next year in Los Angeles, and and the wrestler who was wrestling Nick Gage fell out, and he said, "Do you want to wrestle Nick Gage?" And I didn't even really know who he was and didn't know much about like death matches. I knew about hardcore matches. I knew certain things, but I didn't know that there was death matches are kind of frowned upon by some professional wrestlers because they call it garbage wrestling. Kind of came from, I don't know if it came from backyard wrestling. They have a whole world of it in Mexico and in
tetanus shot wrestling. We used to call it.
No kidding. Yeah.
The tetanus shot circuit. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually asked somebody before that because my wife was all concerned. She's like,
freaking wives, man.
Do you know if anyone has like, whatchamacallit?
First aid kit?
No, like have been tested for like hepatitis or something. And I was like, I don't know. Do you ask somebody? And
hepatitis is a black wrestler that I know. Actually. That's probably one of the best wrestler names ever.
No kidding. That's hilarious. Yeah, so I didn't know like if I was supposed to ask. I didn't know. I was in over my head. And
it sounds like you've been over your head since you were born. Yeah.
I have been. I really am trying to figure this all out. But I went on. I did a bunch of research on death matches and everything. I still didn't know what I was getting into. So, but to answer the question, I wanted to. That's a segment of wrestling that has a really strong fan base that really love wrestling, and even though a lot of people frown on it, a lot of people love it. Mm-hmm. So it is something we wanted to do a backyard wrestling match. We wanted to do like a hardcore match, but it just didn't know how hardcore it was going to get.
And is that the one that's not the one that I see in the documentary though?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. Because that really, that was definitely, You could see somebody's eating Fritos right by the ring. That's real shit.
Yeah, it was real. I was like getting spit on. People hated me. But the idea was like, if I could win over this crowd, I could win over any wrestling fans.
Yeah, it seemed like it must have been pretty brave to wander. First of all, it's scary going into somebody else's backyard. That's always a scary thing.
Yeah, it was.
Know?
That was really like, okay, let's do this. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I equate this whole film, this whole experience to like almost cleaning out your garage or like any kind of task like that, where it seems so big and insurmountable. But then once you get in and you just work on one corner, then finally you'll clean up the whole place. And that's sort of, you just have to keep going. Like in wrestling, if you hurt your neck, don't worry, because next week your back's going to hurt way worse. You know what I mean? You'll keep trading these injuries all along the road. It just never stops.
Yeah, it's almost like you're a voodoo doll, but you keep doing it to yourself in a weird way. There's
That's true. It's true. I was thinking about doing a little video game because my son used to play this video game of a little voodoo doll, and I wanted to do one of me, where then you could get anything, try to blow me up or hurt me, and I just like come all back together. You can't kill.
You can't kill David Arquette.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. When you're doing the documentary, so at the beginning you talk about you won the WCW championship.
Yeah.
And at that time, were you still like running real hot on the Hollywood stuff? Were you wanting to try to do something different? You also seem like kind of a loner that kind of likes to do their own thing in a way to me. Was that part of it? Like if you look back on like kind of learning about who you are based on some of your life path and the choices you make, are you able to like kind of see why you chose that? Or do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, in the movie, it like kind of sets it up like, you know, Scream kind of typecast me as a goofball, and doing wrestling was kind of like bad for my career. I don't really agree with that necessarily. My wife kicked me out of the editing room at one point because I was like, no, you can't say that. That's not true. You gotta, because I say in one point, I haven't, gotten a job in 10 years. Like who goes to
who goes to auditions over and over again that hasn't gotten a job in 10 years.
But what I say right after that is I haven't gotten a job from an audition in 10 years. I've worked within that 10 years. It's just, people knowing me or just word of mouth or whatever. So it's a little like confusing, but I've always like made these weird choices. I'm very public with stuff. I called into Howard Stern and had a bunch of drunken conversations and did a bunch of AT&T commercials. Those are probably the things that hurt my career more than anything, honestly, than the wrestling film or wrestling in general. So I don't really agree with that. But my career was at a weird place, ready to, when you get up to a certain place where you're doing your own films, it's kind of like if this next one doesn't do great, then you kind of fall back down on this ladder of success. But if you can parlay it and have your films continue to do good or just even make money, then you can kind of keep going with it. It's funky.
But having any of those expectations it's almost unrealistic. A lot of it is out of your control.
Yeah, totally. Unless you do it yourself. And that's what I've sort of learned. That's why we did this documentary. It's kind of taking control of your life and your career, or just what you want to put out there.
Yeah.
It's what you've done with this podcast. It's that kind of attitude where you're like, fuck it. I'm going to, do what I want, structure it the way I want, and then that just builds on, then you could do other things that you want. Different projects start popping up. Then you start spending your energy on your own stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting around for someone to, stamp you cool or not.
Yeah.
So that's just not the way to go anymore. And people can do it with their phones and learning editing on their phones or on their computer. It's wide open now because storytelling's getting better. People are more aware of filmmaking and what it takes to tell a good story. So you can read books on it. You can look at YouTube videos to learn things about lighting. Like there's all kinds of resources now.
Yeah. You know, it's funny when I was watching it. One thing I started to realize was because I'd seen you, had just crossed paths at the gym a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, and you were always playing. Were you training or racquetball? What were you guys doing?
I was always just going. I usually play basketball and then do some weights. That's usually just what I do to
You were
get
so
some cardio.
sweaty. I thought maybe you were.
I am a sweater.
Are you?
Yeah, I sweat too much. It's gross.
Dude, my legs, I'd get these, shouldn't probably say this, but I'll get these I used to get these erection pills from India, right?
Yeah.
And damn, they made my legs so sweaty, dude.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just get the legit ones?
They're too expensive and they're too strong, man. The American ones are too strong.
Oh, wow.
God, bro, I couldn't even bend my arms. I was like a damn gingerbread man trying to have sex.
Jesus. Oh, no.
But these, man, they would make my legs sweat so bad, and mostly on the back of my legs. So it was just,
man.
So I'd have to keep my back of my body away from a woman during like any sort of like, you know, sensual engagement. And damn, it just broke me, man. It just, God. But they were so cheap, and they would give you kind of an erection, but a soft, like a manageable erection.
Manageable erection.
Because the stuff that these selling big pharma, that big pharma's selling is too much, man.
No.
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was when I watched the documentary, one thing I started to do was that I did notice I liked the story and I liked the references to wrestling, you know, because I like wrestling myself. But I started to care about you, though, as a person as I'm watching it, you know.
Oh, thanks.
I start to get invested in, okay, obviously I know who David Arquette is, but, you know, I just started to... The scene that really got me was the scene when you're doing the street fighting with the Mexican guy.
Oh, yeah, man. That was amazing. I didn't even know street like wrestling was a thing.
It really put me on your side, like in a, you know, I'm already on your team as I'm watching it, but it put me on your side as like in a real human kind of way, I feel like.
Cool.
So I know you're not asking about that, but I'm just trying to give you just how I felt about during the documentary.
Thank you.
Now there's some wrestling in our circuit. There's some, you know, there's some hot air balloons out there, and I want you to take a peek at this guy right here, Tom Segura.
Oh, yeah.
And he had this wrestling, this promo video that came out a while back, just about a month ago.
Wrestling fans many names, comparing them to anti-vaxxers and flat earthers.
Yeah.
You've also said, quote, they have diminished capacities.
Yeah.
Could you explain what you meant by that exactly, and would you like to take this moment to apologize?
Oh, no. I meant that they're stupid, they're poor, they're all beneath me. You know, they're losers. If they want to come, you know, maybe clean up my toilet or whatever, I could spit on them while they're doing it, give them a little taste of the mystique.
Hey, Rick, you're so strong, you could even withstand the ankle lock. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Mr. Grigg, what about the wrestlers themselves? Some of them have reached out to you saying they used to be fans of yours. Mm-hmm. Now they've been hurt by your remarks. Mm-hmm. How do you respond to that?
Mission accomplished.
Get it, Mr. Grigg.
What's up, Solstice? Oh, that was you. This is my parrot, Solstice. You know, we always enter the ring together. Anybody wants to get the turkey slicer, come at me, man.
Mystic Rick, you are never down for the count. You are the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Just keep those jeans high and tight and know that you are the excellence of execution in everything you do.
Do you think you can do what they do?
Wrestlers?
Yeah.
It's fake. Why can't I win a fake fight? Sign me up.
Oh, man.
Let's rehearse, and then I'll whoop your fake ass.
That's what burned me.
He get what?
That's what burned me, that part.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys have it out?
Yeah, I went back at him, but that just, it's fake. It's not
choreographed,
fake.
It's organized, but it's not fake at all. Once you get in the ring, you'd be surprised how not fake, how real it is. And often, like, people kind of teach you a lesson once in a while.
Because you're bleeding in the documentary.
Yeah, that was a death match, though. But even the backyard match, but there's always something. It just hurts to take those bumps. And I had 3 fractured ribs when I had to wrestle RJ City and a bunch of stuff. Oh, man, it's a good look with you as a wrestler.
Oh, I came back at him. This is me coming back at Mystic, and I went more old school style.
Oh, yeah.
But
Gianni here, waiting for the Rat King to join.
I mean, obviously, it's got no respect for the business that Tom Segura.
Rat King. A lot of smack being thrown around by Mystic Rick saying wrestling is fake. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man.
Was it fake?
when I nabbed the gab out of that little Russia hunter, Mr. Michael Rappaport? Was it fake when I broke the spirit of that little Norwegian smut mannequin, Mr. Crystal? Was that fake, Rick? Was it fake when I put the dirty unagi on little Bobby Miyagi? Was that fake, Ricky? The only thing not real here is you, brother.
Yeah.
You little diet denier, starch addict, gout candidate. I bet you can't even skateboard.
That was personal. The
Rick had some choice words for the fans.
I had to get him, man. I had to go get him, man. I came right back at him because that's the part that hit me. I think there's a certain element of people out there that don't understand when they call it fake, how it hits some people.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Where does that hit you when they call it fake?
Oh, man. You just don't understand how real it is until you get in there. It really is. Like, it's getting crazier and crazier. I mean, not that it's there's a real beauty. Like, I wrestled Colt Cabana. It's one of my favorite matches, and Ethan Page. These guys are super pros. So even though they're making it real, it still isn't as painful as some of those other lessons people teach you.
You think you could beat the fat guy that was in the beginning of this?
The girl, yeah. I mean, come on.
You think he has what it takes actually once he gets into the ring? Do you think he could?
I mean, has he trained properly? That's the thing. Like, whenever you wrestle anyone,
we go on a very short limb and say no, he is not.
Well, then it's kind of like something you usually shouldn't do. Like, unless somebody's really training, because every wrestling match is as good as the most experienced person in there, or the most, like the most trained. They don't have to have the most experience, but someone who really gets it can make you look good. One of my best matches was with Jack Perry and Jungle Boy at AEW, and he's just so talented that he made me look like I could do things that nobody had ever. I'd never tried before, a Canadian Destroyer, and the only reason it works so well is because he's so great at it. I mean, it's certain things you're not really supposed to talk about or whatever, but
right.
But he's a super talented wrestler. He's Luke Perry's son.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
God dang, he's damn beautiful, dude.
Yeah, he's great. He's a movie star, this kid. He's never smoked, never drank. He's got a great head on his shoulder. He's tough as nails.
He's better looking than about easily 60% of the women I've dated. Easily, bro.
He's a great looking guy.
Even the guy above him right there is...
Yeah, Luchasaurus. He's an amazing wrestler.
Wow.
He's good, I don't know, 6'8", 6'10".
So you really have a love for this whole world. I guess that's something as I'm going through You Cannot Kill David Arquette, that I'm like, okay, is this a real passion that he has for this?
Yeah, I love wrestling. I've always loved wrestling. Just sort of, I've always loved it as a fan. Just kind of like, and then when the championship thing came, I was promoting Ready to Rumble. They said, we'll put the belt on you if you can stay till the next pay-per-view. I thought it was a terrible idea. But Diamond Dallas Page broke it down. He's like, listen, well, you don't have to do it. If you don't do it, then the promotion of Ready to Rumble's over. The whole Ready to Rumble thing's over. You won't be wrestling with us. But if you do, you'll stay with us. You'll travel with us. You'll go, do a pay-per-view. And that's kind of what I really wanted. I thought it would be really fun. And I thought it would be taken more as a funny storyline rather than something so serious and kind of devalued the belt, which I understand now.
What was more? What do you feel like was more devaluing? The fans that were saying this is, using a guy from Hollywood, if you will, or critics that were saying this is not what somebody like David Arquette should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was I was an actor. I was smaller than most of the wrestlers back in that time period. Since then, you've had smaller champions like Daniel Bryan and
Mike Mizanin.
Yeah, a lot. And I forgot Seth Rollins, sort of some guys. So
Rey Mysterio is like kind of the first.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio. Yeah,
hell, Henry Rollins could win a belt. I think if you gave him. He's pretty tough.
Rollins is a tough guy. But yeah, I don't know. It was just sort of that I was an actor and I wasn't trained, and they just didn't accept it as like this funny thing. And then guys like Booker T had never been the champion, or Scott Steiner. So I asked Booker T in the locker room, I said, how many times have you been the champ, Booker? And he's like, never. So I was like, oh shit. So then when I went out next, I went off script and I said, I don't deserve to be the champ. Booker T deserves to be champ. And he was the champ a few, the belt went to Jeff Jarrett, and then I think it went to Booker after that. So not that I had anything to do with it, but it's good to plant those seeds.
Yeah. Did you so did it get weird? Because then after you get the strap, did you start to feel ashamed of having it? Or are you like, holy shit, you go from excitement to then all of a sudden I still have this thing and I have to get rid of it?
You have to carry it from everywhere, through airports, every day. You can't lose it or leave it in your car. You can't leave it in your hotel room.
Like a baby in Georgia.
Yeah, you have to carry it everywhere.
They're heavy.
You're responsible for it.
And they're heavy.
And they're heavy. Yeah, and I just didn't know what the heck I was really doing. Nobody told me like really how to wrestle, how to do anything. Like I'd just show up and they'd say, okay, you could. Sometimes they'd hand you like literally pages of dialogue. Like I'm supposed to memorize this? Like this is more. It's way harder than people think. Like cutting a promo, all that kind of stuff, and a lot of it has to do with the thing people say that it's not real or something. Because when people cut good promos, they're real. Like you have to find a place inside yourself that you feel this. You can convey that. You're angry at this person, and you do the things that you do in an acting set where you're like, when you have to do something emotional, where you kind of go through in your head all of these really painful times in your lives, and you get to a place where those emotions are like kind of right there. And you have to do that with wrestling too. You know, you have to make wrestling real for you, for what you're doing, for what you're conveying. Like that's where wrestling is entirely real. And then there's the level of like people's personal lives, what's going on, how they feel about you, or how they feel about their own lives. I mean, a lot of people are, when you're real pro, you can separate stuff like that, but some people coming up don't. Some people get overly excited, you know, and then me being a beginner, it's mostly me that's getting like, you know, ahead of things, or like, you know, not, you know, you've learned in wrestling to really slow down time, just kind of like, you know, allow moments to happen, and like get hit and like really react to it, and then look at a fan and just make a connection right there. It's like, he's not going to do this to me. You know, you just make it real, and then it becomes real. And when you can make wrestling really feel, and you, the audience, you can capture them, and then they're like, like while the match is going, like, oh, he almost made it, and then you got him on the hook, you know, and then you just have to kind of reel him in. Best way to reel him in is like do a few like things that they either don't see coming, or a quick turnaround, and then boom, you know, some big thing that makes them cheer, and then, you know, you either get them to like the 3 count, or you kick out.
Yeah.
But you should always end on sort of your biggest pop of the performance.
It sounded like he was describing stand-up.
No shit. I think there's a lot
like,
stuff like. Sorry.
No,
that was it. There's like,
that's a really good point. I was trying to think of a correlation, and oddly, I couldn't even think of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, and you're taking me back now too, also to just being a fan. I remember, man, when the guy would crawl over and get on top of the other guy, and finally it's like good is going to beat evil, and everything is going to be okay in the world, and then you're like, this ref has like a rotator cuff injury, and he can barely get his arm to go down, and he gets stalled at the top, and some other ref has to come in and push his arm down.
I know.
But it's just like life. It's like things just sometimes get so close, and then there's just these chops and these ups and downs, and oh man.
Yeah. That's when it's beautiful. That's
God. That's not fake, man.
Yeah, and when you typically work with veterans, they know how to construct matches where it's like, half of the time I didn't even know like what was going on, like why are they putting that here? I don't understand. Why would I? But then you see it all together and you start figuring out. And then once you get used to it, then you can relax into stuff, and you know certain things are coming, certain parts of the match, you know, the heat and all the sort of stuff that comes, how you construct a match.
Listen up. all you business owners and all you entrepreneurs, I got to tell you about this. So recently, if you go to theovon.com, you'll see work has been done to the site, construction, liveliness, activity, upgradients. And I'm talking about Modify. That's right. Modify is a company that rivals any other option on the market for subscription-based professional web design services. Modify's unbeatable new plan is fast, affordable, and high quality. They make a site that can do what you need. Do you need something done? Can your site do it? Now it can. That's Modify. Their plan includes updates, unlimited support, easy editing tools, and future redesigns. That's right, there's no cost to build, and there's no contract, and Modify does it all for you. No cost to build, no contract, and they do it all for you. Only $249 a month. Work with professional designers to create the last website you'll ever need. It's Modify's the last website ever plan. Get yours today for $249 a month. Go to modify.com/THEO. That's my name. That's Modify with a PH. MODIPHY.com/Theo. Man, they get it done, man. If you need it done, shit, they get it done. Today we're supporting a small business, that mom and pop. Or sometimes that son and pop style of business. And that's what we got going on here. It's that award-winning jambalaya mix and that garlic butter seasoning. That's right, it's Hot Rods Creole. Hot Rods Creole is a family-owned father-son duo from Louisiana. And they're chasing their food dreams together. A lot of people think Cajun food is always super, super spicy, but it's not true. The ingredients we have put together will stimulate those taste buds without making those eyeballs sweat. They have 7 products available and more continuing to come out. Get that little daddy box, 3 seasonings, barbecue sauce, 2 packs of jambalaya, and a koozie, baby. Or get that big daddy box. It's like the little daddy, but more. Thanks for listening to the podcast. All purchasers get 10% off the code using Theo Von. Go to hotrodscreole.com. That's HOTRODSCREOLE.com and use code Theo Von. Thank you very much. What is that neck? The leg twist, that neck. What is that move? Is that your finishing move?
The
one of your moves is great.
Hurricanrana. Yeah, it's a legs. I don't know. It's called a Hurricanrana. Some people call it. But yeah, that's one of my moves. That's a move that goes into a lot of stuff. It's a Frankensteiner if you're on the corner of the top rope, or there's a lot of different moves go into it. But my finishing move's a diamond cutter, like Diamond Dallas Page.
Now because people wouldn't say that ballet is fake. People wouldn't say that a move. I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
There's almost a Greek art to it or something.
Absolutely, there is. It really is good against evil. I mean, that's what's happening like in the world right now. It really is becoming a wrestling match.
Oh,
we've got heels and faces, good guys and bad guys.
Everybody. I mean, everything has turned. We've been saying this for years that it's all turning into the WWE.
Yeah.
Everybody's cutting promos. It's just like, what is going on?
I know, it's crazy.
Everybody's cutting promos. Everybody's driving for Uber. It's just getting insane.
I know.
Remember, like when politicians, they used to be like in a place somewhere, like debating against each other. Now they're all just cutting promos on fucking Twitter.
I know. The whole feuds on Twitter thing is just crazy. And like, everyone in politics and everything are just a bunch of wrestlers going nuts.
It's everything, man. I remember one of the most beautiful things I ever saw, though. I was at the wrestling, and they had a Mexican gentleman, a man. I think he was a man. Him and his son were the same exact height. So who knows how old either one of them was, but they were both wearing a championship belt, and when The Rock came back, it was the night that The Rock came back. This is about 8 years ago, I think, or maybe.
Wow.
And when he came back, they both started bawling, crying together, like
That's
just standing there.
I love that.
And it was just, man, it was.
That's real.
The night was great,
fan.
but that was probably the best thing that I saw.
Yeah, I love that. That's the best part.
Just that humanity.
And the love for it. And it's because he took his son, but his dad probably took him, and then, you know, his dad probably took his father. You know, that's what it is. It's like some of these moments are just part of our history.
Yeah.
That's what upset me so much. Like, I love wrestling. I didn't want to be excluded from it or go with my wife and then have people like yelling at me. I was just sick of it. So I wanted to do something about it. It's sort of also like everybody's got that feeling of like something they dream of doing. You know, we all wanted to tap into all that. Like, you know, not letting people bully you, like, you know, going after your dreams, like never giving up, like giving something everything you got. And we didn't know where it would go, if it would, you know, if it would go to one of the bigger places or something. But it worked out that it was this perfect kind of full circle moment.
You mean this documentary?
Yeah, with the Nasty Boys just kind of like getting my back and accepting me as one of the guys.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's interesting because I didn't even know today whenever we were coming in here, I didn't know. I didn't know if I should ask you in advance, like, how serious is this? Is this like a, you know, just a, I don't want to say a spoof, but no, it definitely gives it more depth to me, knowing how you feel about it, you know?
Yeah.
And also one thing that's really cool is that you've gotten to be a Hollywood star. I mean, you've gotten to, the fruits of that stardom are really, I mean, it's sketchy. And I don't even know if there's that big of stardom these days. There's a few people, but the idea of like stardom forever is very hard to have, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like at a level of like, you know, sometimes we think
Those
about
top
it.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 8 or 10 guys. You know, it's so.
Yeah. They're really selective. I mean, they have not the luxury, but they have the patience to be like able and just have it in themselves to really wait for the right project, you know, get the right directors and producers attached, make sure that that's the character that they want to play. But they also have the luxury of maybe not working for a year or two.
Right.
Like I grew up with a father who was a working character actor so I think it like got into me that it's like, I'm a working actor, like I need to work. So
yeah,
I'll do things that, you know, on paper people say like, why are you doing this kids show, you know, just for whatever reason, but it's all directly connected to just working, having a job, going and doing work. Like I'm not comfortable sitting around all the time.
Yeah, I think you have to give up, but you also, it feels like you have to give up some of what you want in Hollywood. It seems like at certain points, you know, like I got offered some things in the past year, and there was this animated project I got offered to be on, this show called Hoops that just came out on Netflix, and it just didn't. I kind of wanted to do my own animation thing, and I didn't, and I just wasn't sure, and so, you know, I had to say that it wasn't for me, even though it would have been probably fun and neat, and I had to see it come out and be a little disappointed. But then I also just had to remember myself, because I'll just immediately start feeling bad, like, oh man, I wasn't in it, and but I don't. My brain doesn't want to remember 9 months ago when I was like, I just don't think. I tried to make a choice for myself. You know,
it's hard to do those choices.
It's hard,
done them,
man.
like to my detriment a few times. Like not wanting to do something that turned out to be really great and really great group of people doing it. Sorry, I'm burping over here.
It's okay. These mics don't pick that up. Okay. But that's diet soda, man. I remember when I would see people drink diet sodas when I was young, I thought they were old. That's what starts to scare me, dude.
I'm much older than you, so it's like, it's really funny when you start looking back. It's real.
It's real, yeah. How crazy is it how much older you get once you hit like 39 or 40?
Yeah. There's that 39 to 40 and 39 to 50 is like a whole thing. There are really cool things that happen too. You start like not caring nearly as much about stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Not getting like, you start realizing where your anger comes from. Like it's like, oh, you start feeling you can control it more.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like crippling like sometimes it feels like.
Oh, yeah, man. I would like to have that less stress. Dude, I used to get, especially over women, bro. Here's the crazy thing. If you want to date a girl now and say she's younger than you, it's so hard because you can't talk about any music.
Oh, yeah.
You say like, oh, do you listen to, and a second you get halfway through that sentence, you're like, fuck, if I name a band that is like 15 years old right now, I'm going to sound so fucking old.
I know. That whole world is just
yeah.
a little
You like
strange.
the Black Crows and you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, what are they at the San Diego Zoo? And you're like, damn, I don't know. She's like, are they endangered? It's just, it's so sketchy, bro. Trying to keep up with the Joneses of youth is impossible.
Yeah, it is.
It gets real sketchy.
And it also is like, I don't know. You can meet the right people, but it's a lot of the time just pretty empty feeling. You know what I equate a lot of that stuff to? It's funny. Everyone's doing Zooms now. And at the end of a Zoom call, it's always like, oh, let's get to leave the meeting thing. It's always like, it's almost like you're done fucking. And you're like, oh, this feeling of like, here's my real face.
That's a good point. Here's my real face. Yeah. And no one can ever find it. It's like, all right, I love you. And then it's just...
Oh, I have those moments. I've learned how to sit in them a little more, the uncomfortable moments. I did a show called Carter that it came out apparently with Jerry O'Connell, who's a really
I love
amazing,
Jerry, man.
Yeah, he's
so
funny.
talented.
Dude, he's hilarious.
He has the best stories, bro.
He has the best stories. He's just such a funny guy. Yeah. So we had a blast. We were just joking the whole time. But I went up to Canada to do a show, Carter, and then he was like, something happened on the set and people were getting a little upset. And he's like, oh, yeah. I looked at him. I was like, what's up? He's like, I think they're getting in a little argument or something. I was like, yeah, they're in an argument. Why are you getting all jacked up about it? And he just loved the fact that there was conflict. And I was like, oh, wow, that's such like an interesting response, because my past response, just from being from a kid from a chaotic like childhood or whatever, I'd get like super like I don't know, embarrassed or something, or like I'll feel like, oh, why are they fighting, that whole thing. And it's like such a kid response to it.
Yeah.
And now when you're able to kind of like not take it personally, or it doesn't involve you, and they're having a conflict, you don't have to solve it.
Yeah.
And you can kind of sit back, and I can see how I don't know if I can ever enjoy it, but I can see how he can be relaxed about it.
Jerry's he's eating popcorn as you look over. He's fucking
so
loving it.
Funny, that
dude,
guy.
He's so talented, man. He has this story about growing up he grew up in New York during the AIDS epidemic or pandemic. Man. And he has this wild story about how half of the people in his building when he was a kid died. Oof. And just how like every couple of weeks he'd come home and another neighbor would have died. And just man, it's just fascinating. And he's such a gripping, when you know why he's a good actor. Because when you were talking to him, it is like you are in just an elevator into like another, like a elevator that goes forward right into his damn soul.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind. Dude,
hilarious. That's
fun, man. Yeah, when I was there he is right there with a guy with Brendan Shaw right there. And he's a guy. But dude, it's so funny. When I was young, I used to feel so much like I'm responsible for everything. Like no matter, like I would feel so much shame. Like I would feel so ashamed of everything that happened. Like if like one of my family members did something and they was off or something, I would feel like it always like reflected on me. Like I was just ashamed of everything, man.
I know.
It sucks.
Yeah, it super sucks. I used to have this thing where I like discovered I was kind of a shame addict. I was like addicted to the feeling of like putting myself in a position where it was like either shameful or like, And I didn't want to, but I kept calling into Howard Stern and then having to like apologize to people, or even maybe like what I just did with talking about Alyssa or whatever, just not meaning to, but it might be something in me that, why do I talk about somebody else? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know what it is. Is she going to get mad? I don't know. Not that I did it for any reason, but I don't know why my brain would do it sometimes.
Right.
Where I'd get into this thing just to be humiliated or something, which is a terrible thing to do. It's like really painful place to be.
But dude, sometimes it's so funny. I would love like I remember one time I had 2 girlfriends, right? And a huge rarity in my life. And I invited them both to a bar, right?
Oh gosh.
And I knew it was going to make me feel some people would think, oh, this is going to be fun, cat fight, these girls are going to go at it. I just knew, in hindsight, looking back, I'm going to feel so fucking bad because I care about both these girls, both of them care about me, and everybody's going to get their heart broken right now. Right. And I was just like, let's do it. You know?
Wow.
Like,
yeah,
and
I know that feeling.
But looking back, like, it's like, man, I wonder if there's ways where my brain leads me into places to really feel not great about stuff, without just because of old patterns.
Yeah, I do things to blow shit up a lot. Yeah. Like that thing sounds kind of like that, where you do something like with a specific intention of just blowing all the fucking shit. Just to like, fuck it. Go punk rock. There's always been a little bit of a punk rock vibe.
I do that with work sometimes, man, even work stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because I've found in the past 2 years, like I really didn't like in some ways working with others in some ways. I didn't realize it. Yeah. I've just always kind of done things by myself. And so I didn't realize until we had to start to work with others a little more that I have to, I don't know, it's not a reflection of me. It's just a group thing. But man, I had such a visceral reaction to it, man. Yeah. And so I would, I'd always, I don't know, I'd get up in the middle of the night and fucking rattle off an email that's like, just like a angry bomb. Yeah. So that 3 hours later when everybody wakes up.
I know. I did that stuff too. Oh God. It's painful. You like kind of, a lot of the time and especially sometimes you're working with the kind of people that do it, where they create issues and like problems where there are none, just to like have a problem. Yeah. And then you have to deal with the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like the David Blaine of complete fucking bullshit. Kind of, Like, guess what? Ta-da, fucking bullshit,
Yeah. Ta-da. Thanks.
Did you ever have any...
That was great.
Did you ever, because you talk a little bit about addiction and thing, do you talk about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've had my battles with it, so I've been like on this roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a tough ride, kind of.
It's a really tough ride.
But it's a fun ride, though, too, I think.
It is. I mean, it's fun when you learn, like, I don't know, how not to do it. I mean, it's just beating yourself up. My addict's just like literally like in my wife asking me, do you just want to kill yourself? It's like, no, but there's something inside me that's trying to kill me. Absolutely has no problem with it. You know what I mean? So you have to like, but then also like just not wanting to go there. Like with my personal life, like I don't know. I like, when I first sort of fell off the rails, it was kind of public. I was like calling Howard Stern and all this shit. So
and I don't remember any of that. I don't even know about any of that.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just like completely like blah, like regurgitating my life, and just like.
Oh yeah, but we do that here. Yeah, we do it here.
Yeah, you do that here, but it's your own place, and it's right. It's like you're also not fucked up doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
Dude, I had a night, so I ended up on Opie and Jim Norton. They used to have a show.
Yeah.
Opie and this was after Opie and Anthony in Sirius. It was across from Howard, and a lot of times people would do the loop up there and they'd be coming. Right. So I ended up one night all cocaine all night, driving a taxi. The taxi driver's in the back. He's in the taxi, right?
Wow.
Long night, dude. Great time.
Yeah.
Get to the radio station. I have to be on air at 6 a.m., bro. Can't even... I mean, can't even feel my fucking face, bro, with either hand. I tried both hands, right? At first I thought, oh, something's wrong with this hand, you know? And then I tried feeling my face with this hand, and I knew something wrong with my face. And Daryl Strawberry's the other guest that
my
day.
gosh. Well,
And
that's a good, he could help you through it.
yeah, if anybody can help me through it.
Yeah.
But man, I was so embarrassed.
Just use a little Bengay. Put it behind your ear. You'll get your feeling back.
There I am right there,
Oh my
blasted out of my brain.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I had done enough cocaine to frickin' take Daryl Strawberry to extra innings, bro. No doubt.
No kidding. You can see you grinding away too.
Oh man, I lost a half inch in my mouth that day.
I know. It's such a big. Cocaine's the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst, bro.
Really is just. I say it turns men into mice. It's just.
And it's fun though. That's the thing. They put a little bit of fun in it.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's just so vapid, the fun. And it's all so full, like hot air. It's just
man.
not.
They need
There's
to
so
make
many
it better.
ways to do it, but it just takes a lot more work.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to work to get those highs, but it just takes the work to get there, and then it's like the culmination of all the work, and then you have that fun time, and then even the process of doing this stuff can be fun too.
Yeah,
where you can get that life high.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot. I mean, there's things I like now about definitely waking up and being able to handle my day.
Oh hell yeah!
And like open my eyes up, have those little moments. I'm sure it is with family and stuff too, especially.
Yeah.
And the more responsibilities I get in my life, the less I find myself wanting to do stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
But so. Are you with the documentary? I don't know if I didn't watch in because I just don't know how much like you want to share about like give it. Are you making a push now to get more into wrestling? Yeah.
I don't know. I might wrestle more. I did it mainly for this documentary, so I kind of did what I set out to do.
Right.
If we wrestle some more, I mean, I love the world. You know, I like wrestling with RJ City as my tag team partner, so I don't know if I want to do it without like a tag team partner. I always got in trouble without a tag team partner.
Yeah.
Unless it was with a pro like Colt Cabana or something.
And here's a guy right here who's probably alone.
Theo, what's up, David? Seth from Kentucky here. And my question for David is, who has more fun in the wrestling community, heels or faces? You know, do you get to have more fun being that bad guy, or do you have more fun being the face of it all? Gang, gang.
Gang, bro.
gang.
That's a good question, man.
Yeah, it is a good question. The heels definitely have more fun within it. Like, it's just, you know, heels represent like being chicken shits, being like backstabbers, having no spine. You can just say the worst things. You can just do all this stuff. You can just, when you come from a place of that, it's weird when people get mixed up. Like, some people get mixed up, like they might be the heel, but they want to be tough in the match too. And it doesn't work as well if you're like, the audience gets more invested if you cheat to like hurt them, or you do something like
right, if you do a heel behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, if you're gonna be a heel.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and then really be a heel.
Right.
So much so as like being chicken about stuff or cheating to win or like all that kind of stuff.
It happens a lot, man. It's really just a reflection of life, you know.
Yeah.
It's just such a like whatever, I think it's called a Greek play or something where they do plays and it's, you know, in Greece or something, and they, you know, it's like good and evil, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would love to see you beat the shit out of Mystic Rick, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Do you guys have a little, like promotion or something? Does he have a belt or?
Theo called him out and he never responded. The Rat King called him out. And
Rat King called him out and he never responded, man. We had a belt that started years ago when they have a podcast called The Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah.
And they had a vote on their podcast for best guest or one of the best guests in the year, and that guy got a belt.
Oh,
so once the
nice.
belt came into it, that's the origin story of the belt. And then, you know, we started taking on different characters and, you know, just, you know, I kind of like, most of our fan base is really a bunch of rats, you know, not bad rats, but just like underdogs, you know?
Yeah.
Just
I'm
like,
right there with you.
Yeah, cheese hunters, you know? So
yeah.
I feel it. What else do you want to talk about, you think?
I don't know.
Did you ever do any jail time?
No, I've never had a mugshot. I've been pretty careful about certain things. I've been wild, but
did you ever like wreck a car? Really?
No, I never drove all ways. I mean, I've driven once in a while, but I avoided it all very.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the main things.
That's really good then.
Yeah. I never wanted to get in a situation where I hurt anybody.
Yeah, do you think that yeah, I just wonder if I could handle one of those prisons or not, you know? You think you'd be good in prison?
I don't know, man. I hate to have to deal with it, but you know, we did a documentary called Survivor's Guide to Prison, which was really cool. We produced it with Danny Trejo. It was a Matthew Cook film. It was really great. My wife really produced it, but that taught us a lot about the prison system, you know how corrupt it is and how it needs to be changed. But actually being in there, that would be something else. I mean, I taught a acting class at San Quentin a couple times.
Yeah?
Yeah. That
Some
was
good actors in there?
It was cool. It was weird. I had them do this improvisational game called Animal Transformation, where you pick an animal and then you transform it into like, all right, let's put, you're a giraffe and you're a rhinoceros. Yeah. I was about to forget.
I thought you were going to say Ryan Reynolds.
You're a giraffe and you're Ryan Reynolds.
I'd watch that.
But you bring them up to like human form, but still maintain the characteristics. So like this dude would be like a rhino or whatever, and goes up to the giraffe, but he was like kind of aggressive because rhinos seem aggressive. And then the guard was like, stop, you got to stop. And he explained to me like they could get into this little acting thing right here, but then they could go out and like get in a huge fight on the yard if like someone disrespects each other, and there's like all this code and all this stuff. So I'd hate to have to learn that stuff, but I get by.
But do you think when you think about prison, like what parts of prison do you think you would enjoy?
I don't know, man. Like,
do you like a small room? I like a small room.
I like characters, so I'm sure there'd be some characters in there that I'd gonna hit it. I like the kind of joking that happens in places like that, or at school, or in like, places where people are all hanging out and not bored, but have time on their hands, or it's just like hanging out with your homies. Like, when you're growing up, the guys you grew up with, the way you can joke with them is like, a great feeling.
Yeah, why do we lose that as we get older? That disappears, doesn't it, in a lot of ways?
It does. You have to kind of stick with those guys. When you go back home, you probably have friends like that, right?
Yeah. I'm on a couple text chains like that, but you never can really replicate that, just that childhoodness of it, where somebody doesn't have to. Now people have responsibilities, and somebody, they owe somebody money, or there's some bullshit or something.
Yeah, totally.
But
I love Brody.
Yeah, man, one of a kind. He just had a birthday the other day.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
He's awesome. I knew him for a while. We hired him on a show called Midnightly News to warm up the audience, like back in the 90s or something.
Did you one thing that I loved about him was I think he just always had this ability, like, to make you feel he was such a loner almost. He was such like a scared dude, but he always would like really kind of go out of his way to kind of make you feel included,
Yeah.
Talk about being a loving person, but finding it really hard, I feel like, to express how your love in like normal ways and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Man, he was a warrior, man. I still cannot believe that suicide. It's just crazy how it just it sneaks in.
Yeah,
like in an instant almost.
Yeah, it's sad when people can't do it anymore. I get it,
but I also get it sometimes, man.
I get it, but there's you have to fight through the hard times, because there is beauty on the other side.
Yeah,
like, this is a really dark time right now, just in general. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are losing loved ones, and you don't know where there's where they're bills are going to get paid from. So it's really scary at this time, but you have to know that we will make it through this.
Yeah.
And we will have fun on the other side. And there's little things that come like as you get older that are really beautiful little things. And it's just literally like catching, tadpoles with your kids, or like the wind on your hair, or like, you get an appreciation for certain things.
Getting a snack, anything, something small.
I know. When you can really like sit there like, oh, this grape tastes great. Like, you're like in a place where you're taking a moment to appreciate a grape.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is different because you're not like as wound up about the world.
Yeah, man, it's tough, dude. I made a gratitude list this morning. I'm trying to get back more into gratitude, you know. Just be thankful for the little things.
That's the best, man. That's such a key.
It gets so tricky. I think I feel like after watching the doc, I felt like it's really kind of I guess it really does kind of stand as a story of like setting a goal and kind of do you feel like it's getting a monkey off your back?
A little bit. I mean, it definitely. The thing I learned was that it was me. Like, I had this one therapy session with my therapist, and I was like talking about my mom and dad and how heavy like their marriage and relationship was, and then I was like, wait, they're both dead. It's like literally this heaviness is just inside me, and they're gone. So like to work to lift that was really helpful.
You're like David Duchovny, but I feel like the X-Files are on the inside. You know?
I'm telling you, it is. We all have to figure out all this stuff going on inside.
It's so crazy, bro, how much crazy baggage we carry, man.
I know, man. Yeah.
And then I will swim in it. I will make a fucking swimming pool out of my baggage and then dive right into it.
I know.
When there's tons of other things to go do. People are like, hey, come get on this water slide. Come get on this Ferris wheel. I'm like, nah. I just made this amazing swimming pool with all my own bullshit.
Let's just go in there for a while.
Oh, it gets to me after a while. What else we got, Nick?
We had a written question that came in. It said, when will we see Chuck Hank and the San Diego Twins?
You're telling me this is a movie I did like 8 years ago, and it still hasn't come out. I just have no idea. I was so impressed by this group of filmmakers because they all had cameras. They're all shooting. I was like, you have like 8 cameras. Like nobody has 8 cameras unless you're doing a sitcom. And then, so they're shooting it and they're like having all these angles. They're all filmmakers. They're all editors. And then the movie disappears for 8 years. There's a rumor that it's still going to be done, but I just don't know.
What causes that kind of stuff when something disappears? What caused that?
It could have been any kind of thing. It's usually like there's a falling out between the filmmakers, and then one person's either in charge of it and then just doesn't like complete it, or there's just tied up, so they're sort of push-pulling. I don't know. There's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you interested in doing? Like,
thinking about getting a dang dog recently.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing. Have you had one before? Oh, no kidding. Like, do you know what kind of dog you've been looking?
I think of everybody kind of has like a Labradoodle right now.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about that kind of. I feel like they have nice like kind of eyebrows kind of, but
yeah. But do you need a bigger dog for any reason?
I don't really. I was thinking also a black lab. Then a friend of mine has a Dachshund, wiener dog.
Yeah.
And man, he was nice.
Yeah, little dogs are the difference is big dogs are dope because they're big dogs and like I don't know, but little dogs are amazing too. I've had both. Little dogs are just fun because for someone like you can almost bring them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and then you become the guy with the dog, but that's a whole thing. But if you love this dog and he's really easy and he can be here, it'd probably be like fun for you.
Yeah.
Bigger dogs are harder to bring, like they're harder to bring on trips. They're just harder to manage, but they're incredible. We have 4 basset hounds, which is
they're big. That's like a rich old looking dog.
They're big dogs. They're like medium sized dogs, but they got little dog legs, so they're really short to the ground.
Oh, basset hounds have the long ears.
Yeah. Those are fun dogs. Those are real good nice. Southern dogs too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'm trying to think of maybe what to get. I don't know. I went to a man's house yesterday and he had 2 bunnies too.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool. But that's a big responsibility. Is that what you're kind of like? Oh.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, you know. Now, there you go right there. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at that undercarriage, huh? They got some real meat on them.
Yeah, they have rolls of skin when they're like real basset hounds.
But they're pretty well behaved?
Yeah, I mean, some of, like, they're all individuals, so some of them are better behaved than others. I mean, they all have their own personalities. Mm-hmm. But, you know, they howl and bark a lot, these guys. So some of them don't as much, but that's just something to think about if you have to leave them in your apartment or house for a little while. Sometimes the barking can be a whole thing, or like get babysitters. Or
yeah, that's what I would think. Maybe getting a friend with a yard or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else? I don't know. I want to take some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, actually.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Do you have a guy?
I don't have a guy, but we have a guy, Eddie Bravo, that trains people.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's dope. He's dope.
But we don't know. But I don't know.
I trained with Higan Machado during this whole thing.
Oh, really?
He's amazing, bro.
So you've taken it?
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
Just not like belts or anything, but just for exercise. And hell yes, it's important to learn that shit.
Yeah, that's what I want to learn. Just, I think, like, kind of working on that confidence, that inner confidence of just, you know, feeling a little more comfortable.
Yes, that's what any of that stuff will do for you. Like, I it's funny that I got a brown belt in Yoshikai karate, but I never got a black belt. I had like one more thing that my sensei moved to Florida, so so I'm like stuck with the brown belt, but it's kind of perfect. Dookie colored belt. But what it does teach you, like once you get into it and you're like training a lot and doing it as an exercise and stuff, like your balance and everything, you're like, you learn all this kind of like little ancient tricks with life that are just like really kind of cool when you learn all the like katas and all the stuff. It'll just prepare you for kind of stuff like that. And then jiu-jitsu is a whole other beast, which is amazing. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it seems cool. I just always have this dream, like I'm somewhere, you know, I'm at a Subway or something. I didn't want to go, but somebody took me, you know, because I don't like it. But, and then somebody like, some guy's like, hey, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you, you know? And I'll be like that, you know, and then next thing you know, I have to fucking defend myself, dude.
Oh, yeah.
First of all,
man,
I don't really probably want to be in a fight. Second of all, I do not want to fight in a Subway, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least beat my ass at a Five Guys, you know? So, but I want to be able to at least, like, know that if something happens, like, I don't have to feel like I don't have a chance. You know, that's, I feel like that when I was young, that's always the feeling that I had, man. Every kid was like tougher than me. I felt like, so
I know that feeling.
I was like, I don't have a chance, dude. I'm gonna go hide in this tree, or I do something fucking gay, make a kite or something. Be like, what in the fuck is wrong with this kid? You know?
Yeah. Nowadays, you have to be careful fighting, just because some people, like a lot of people, do know that kind of stuff and everything going on. Someone
Henry
could just
Cejudo
choke you out.
You know, if you saw Henry Cejudo somewhere regularly, you'd beat him with a stick, probably till candy come out. Bring up a picture of him. But he is a legend, you know?
Kidding.
Yeah, I mean, he's, you know, is he undefeated?
No, he lost to Demetrius once. And then I think that might be his only loss. He beat Demetrius the second time.
But even if you can just get a picture of him, Nick.
That's him right there.
I was trying to get him like one where he's not.
Or how tall he is. I mean, I think he's 5'2".
Oh, yeah.
But he's he won 3 belts, I think.
Oh, man, that's tough. That's dope.
Yeah, there he is compared to some other guys, some whites.
No kidding. Yeah, that's actually the Big Show. Big Show's almost, he's 7 feet something.
Have you ever been slammed by any of those real big guys?
He Bully Ray slammed me through a table.
Hell yeah.
Put my hips out.
Yeah, dude.
That's what my back, like, what would happen with me is like either my neck or my back would go out constantly. So then I'd just be jacked up for the next week or so.
It
just
sucks.
Like, it's brutal sport.
And would you get those shots? Would you get some shots to help it?
No, I wish. Like, they probably have that stuff at WWE, but then the independent circuit, they don't even have like ambulance. They hopefully will have like a first aid kit.
Well, yeah, on the independent circuit, man, I remember growing up, they had some dudes bus fighting, man. It would be people in their backyard, and this is before, people wouldn't even videotape it. People would draw a picture of it and show it the next day. You know, this is backyard wrestling,
That's
man.
good fun.
And people would just put a bunch of picnic table. I mean, it was choppy. It was just extremely dangerous too. But yeah, you know, people's stepdads and family disputes. One man threw another man into a damn ditch fire by us one time.
Gosh. Oh,
Pretty cool, man.
Oh yeah, fire's intense.
What else we got, Nick?
I had a question about like the independent wrestling circus. Is it still like kind of the wild, wild west with like some of the performance enhancers? Because I watched Ready to Rumble last night just because of this, and Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Macho Man, and then I don't think Mean Gene was on anything, but all three of those guys have passed away, and it's like it seems like there's not wrestlers that get over like 60 or whatever, and you keep hearing about them dying. Or is it still like kind of that unhealthy? Well, obviously it's bad for your body too, but like I feel like the steroids back in the day definitely played a part.
For sure. I don't know like how many like how prevalent steroids are. I think when John Cena came up, it was like real, like from that point on, there was real more of a focus on body and like strength training and working out. Also, some of the guys, kind of the stature of guys kind of fell down, so it's not as like big, giant. But there's a few guys that are really super buff, and I don't know if they take anything or not. Mm-hmm. I never did. I always liked the kind of body that like a Bruce Lee has, where it's more ripped than anything. You know what I mean? And if you can lose enough weight, you got muscles under there. So once you lose the fat, it kind of looks bigger anyway.
Yeah.
And then you learn little things like, you know, eating protein right after you, within the first half hour of doing weights. Helps a lot to build muscle, but yeah, he's like the baddest. And he's not like huge, but he's...
Did you ever meet him?
No, I never got to meet him. But we were huge fans growing up. And I met his daughter, who was really nice.
Really? Was she hot?
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's just sweet. Just being
that's what
Bruce
I mean.
Lee's
Beautiful lady.
daughter. She was just like, has like a cool like air to her, and you could tell.
You gotta be. Can you imagine being Bruce Lee's daughter and you're just fucking, you know?
A dick? But it happens. I mean, there's some people that just get caught up with this whole world.
I know.
It's
I bet especially in the world that you've seen, man, really being into Hollywood, it gets really kind of vapid out there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's a lot of shit that happens. I've been in the business 30 years, so.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You seem so young.
So I'm getting older, man. I'm an adult now, and
40, it's a cool age. So it's when stuff starts not. You'll figure your world out.
Yeah, I like the idea of stuff not being so not being so serious.
Yeah, I do too. I think that that'll go on forever. I mean, especially just dogs and kids and all that stuff. If you want to have them, there's a lot of shit that comes with them, but then there's also like the most silliest stuff you'll ever do. You know what I mean? Which is then becomes the funnest stuff you'll ever experience.
Yeah. When you look back on being a wrestling champion, do you look back on it fondly?
Yeah, I mean, just to be part of this world, the world that I always loved. I look at that fondly. You know, and with all like griping about stuff, it's wrestling, so I use it all in the movie. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a fan of Andy Kaufman's. That's part of this whole thing. You know what I mean? It's just part of the things that I love.
Right.
You know? So it's like, I do look at it fondly. I mean, especially with sort of coming back and like, who knows if this is the end of it? You know, who knows if there'll be some other kind of wrestling adventures?
Yeah. What do you see? Do you still have a lot of stuff? Obviously, you want to get into stuff that you can make more that's your own.
Yeah.
Do you feel like yourself getting more motivated towards that kind of?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I do with my spare time in between waiting for something or auditioning for something. Just sort of, work on projects that I believe in.
And have you done any movies in space? Man, I could really see you in space.
I would love to. I would love that. I mean, how cool would it be to be like the first film shot in space? That would be the baddest. I would love that.
Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, I don't know. Space, we keep going to these shitholes, man. Mars, the moon. Like, these places, like, look, I'm no real estate agent.
Well,
these
I
places
don't
are
know why
paying-
the moon they don't already have like a Disney World up there. I know nobody would like it. It'd be upsetting for
Yeah.
some people, but I think it'd be amazing.
Oh, I think something small you could stop in, at least a rest area, you know? But yeah, it seems like we keep going to these shitholes, bro. Mars is let's be honest, bro. Place is a shithole. I'm not a real estate agent, but every picture you see, it's like, this place is garbage, dude.
I know,
There's
but-
fire everywhere. There's no place you could even you couldn't even have an outdoors. It's just, I don't
Like
know.
Palm Springs. though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a fucking,
They can build it up.
it's like Palm Springs' dirty grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, let's find a decent planet or quit fucking around, man. You know, spend the money, send a shuttle into fucking Zaire and let's fucking habitate over there, you know? Like, I just feel like if we need to work more locally, look at this. I mean, come on, dude.
Oh yeah.
And you got dumb chicks and dudes and chudes out there sitting around saying, oh man, think we'll ever live on Mars? Like idiots at a fucking bar somewhere. You know, you got 1/3 of the BW Buffalo Wild Wings population sitting there 4 beers deep. Man, I wonder if we'll ever live on Mars. You know, place a shithole, man. Sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, Mars thing.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody was going to be here when I felt like this, but but it's just kind of just making me mad, man. We just got bigger fish to fry, dude. But I want to see some more of these promos. I want to see more of these wrestlers cut promos. I want to see more politicians cut promos.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, one politician puts out a dope-ass wrestling promo, I feel like they would get all the votes.
They would get a lot of votes. I had one friend who was voted for Trump because he provided, WrestleMania at his casinos. I was like, you can't vote for him for that reason, though. You just can't. Not for that reason.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, the whole world is so crazy. His wife Melania looks hot, though. I got to say that, man.
Yeah.
You know? People act like she's not hot. Like,
Yeah.
I'll pretend a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to pretend that she's not hot, dude. That's insane. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, people have to present you a lot of times with projects where they're like, you would be perfect for this, huh? Was there a point where you didn't want to really do some of that stuff?
No, not really. I mean, when you get hot, you get a lot of offers. So then it's like you have to kind of sift through find the good stuff. But when you're not, you just kind of like are trying to find good projects to work on.
Yeah.
So it's typically low budget things that you don't get paid for. You never know how they're really going to turn out, if they ever come out at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been offered a couple of real wild animals, man. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see,
Yeah.
I would love to do something where, a friend of mine, a black friend of mine, said that black people and aliens don't get along well. Or there's beef.
We love our new home. There's so much space.
Or there's like beef in that community. And so I'm like
With
wondering.
aliens?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I'm like wondering, how do we get
That's good.
that film? You
Yeah.
know, I'll be like some guy just like, some guy that works for the United Nations or whatever. But I'm just thinking, how do we get to see that? Because I'm ready to see that.
That's good.
You know?
gotta get a treatment, a outline, then a script.
Yeah, Brothers versus Aliens, dude. I'm ready to freaking. There's no way I wouldn't watch that.
That's amazing.
So, all right. Well, David, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of your comedy, and I appreciate you.
Well, I definitely remember like the day that you said hey to me at the gym. It made me feel really good. I remember
Awesome.
telling one of my friends, I was like, dude, I got to meet David Arquette today. It was awesome. But yeah, I was happy to watch the documentary, man. I'll watch the end now that I know it's safe to. And and you guys will have to check out You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And just stay alive, I guess, right? And we'll see a
That's
sequel.
it. That's it. I'll be alive. I can't die. Can't kill me.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can feel it in my bones, but it's gonna take a little time for me to set that parking brake and let myself unwind. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my stories. Shine on me, and I will find a song. I will sing it just for you. And now I've been moving way too fast on the runaway train with a heavy load of my past. And these rails that I've been riding on, they're worn so thin that they're damn near gone. I guess